please, coming on.
Dave, want the lights off?
Yes.
Computer tricks that'll help you out a lot. I must admit, this is not original, although I've used a lot of these before. I clipped it from TechSpot here, but that's just the origin of it all. Okay, this, Mary Fran said to keep it short, so I'm going to make it under an hour and 45 minutes.
Mary Fran asked for you to please introduce yourself.
I am Al. The short story is I moved here 2.5 years ago from Valley Forge area outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've got about 41 years in IT. The first 17 years were mainframe. Then I woke up one day and realized mainframes are dinosaurs. I'd be unemployed. So I went over to client server, PCs, LAN, network, all that good stuff. So I could stay employed to support my expensive habits. Okay. Here we go. If you have any questions, just yell out, and don't worry about taking notes because there's a lot of stuff on here. I'm going to have to find out where I can post this on the forum so you can all take a look at it at your leisure and run through the examples.
Real easy.
Yeah, my goal is to make you as lazy as I am. You'll never attain it, but it's fun to try. Okay. One premise underlying all this is that I always thought the keyboard is 10 times faster than the mouse. So a lot of these are going to be keyboard shortcuts, and a lot of them you already know, like Control-C, copy, Control-X, cut, Control-Z, undo. Okay. What happened there? Okay, here's something that most people don't know about. There's a secret folder called God Mode, and you manually create it on your hard drive, and it breaks down all the control panel icons or applets and lets you change all kinds of things. As you see at the bottom, don't do this on Vista 64-bit because it'll reboot loop. But you shouldn't be using Vista anyway. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Okay. The folder is here, and for all you control panel addicts, you get all these wonderful icons all in one place. So it's real easy to do things. Let me find a suitable example. It was update device drivers. This is an easy way to get to Device Manager. And if you wanted to update a driver, you could just right click on there and update. I'm not going to do it because it's already been done, but just to show you what's possible. So there's a lot of shortcuts and tricks in here. Frankly, you'll probably never use most of them, but I need to get a life. Anyway, I just wanted to show
what
you.
about portable devices?
Portable devices?
Yeah. How do you use that to get to portable devices?
Such as what? A USB stick?
Yes, please.
You just plug it in and it loads. I've got one in here now.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me to click on the shortcut.
No, you don't really need that. That would be in the Win File Manager, like in my case here, I've got a USB stick in here. There's really not much you have to do with that. And if it needs a driver, it'll tell you without you having to go through this special folder.
I think, Al, basically you're saying that this is an enhanced control panel
Right.
with all the settings in one spot.
Right, I think it's got more than the standard control panel, and you probably won't use it except people like us.
You never know.
Oh, I forgot to also preface this. Most of these tips and tricks are for Windows, not Linux. We can still be friends, right, John?
Yep.
Okay. Next, okay, here's just another snapshot of God folders. I didn't make that up. That's whoever created it came up with that. Here's another cool thing. Problem Steps Recorder. If you're ever fixing something for someone and you're remote, or it's like a neighbor or family member, and you ask them, well, what was the error message, or what do you see on the screen? They're never going to tell you. So what you do is, as the helper, you run PSR. So you Windows key start, and type in PSR, and this is actually a pretty neat little tool. We use it at Huntington Bank. And this will record all your screen snapshots, everything you enter on the keyboard, and it'll create a file from it. So I'm going to demo that. So to fire it off, you hit start record, start record rather, and let's just say I want to go to here. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, just to get some stuff in the file to show you. And then I go here, like that. Okay, and at this point I'm going to stop, and I can add a comment. And we'll stop the recording. And this will ask me where to save it. For now, I'll just throw it on the desktop. I don't recommend putting anything on the desktop except shortcuts.
Why?
Maybe if I give it a name.
Why not?
Because you'll clutter it up and the desktop can be part of a profile. And if you get enough files and folders on it, it'll take you a week to load. A friend of mine did that. It took him literally half an hour to boot up to a desktop in Windows. So I looked at the desktop. He had 4 gig of PDF files and 2 gig of memory. I'm surprised I ran it all. So I cleared it off, boom, it came right up. Amazing. Cheap borrowed trick, but it works. Okay, so I'll give this a name. We'll go to the desktop and hunt it down. PSR zip. I created these slides under Windows 8, so the PSR runs a little bit differently from Windows 7, which is on this box here. So as you can see, this has all the screen snapshots, a sequence of all the events. So if you're helping someone out, you walk them through this PSR, or you remote in if you can, and you create it, then you can take it back and debug it. And these are all the steps I went through. Sometimes multiple steps for the same thing, and then here I looked at the properties, went to a browser, and it says user left click, and you can see it tracks everything you do.
So it takes a snapshot of any change.
It takes a snapshot of all the screen snapshots, anything you key in on the keyboard or anything you click with the mouse, and you can write comments at the end. It's kind of lengthy. It sometimes gives you more than you really need. And then at the bottom, it actually has in text of what you did. User left click on this, what it saw, then left click, right click, and at the bottom there should have been that comment I entered. I might have passed it.
Al,
Yeah.
am I the only one that doesn't know how you highlighted that stuff in green?
Where are you talking about? In
A while ago, you had some of the areas off to the left with green highlighter around them.
It's rainy.
Run the PSR again.
Well, if you guys already know this, you don't have to stop for me.
I don't think he's going to be telling you that was something else. No, run the one you showed us that you did.
Okay.
That's where she saw it.
Had a green border around the windows.
Hold on, let me just get rid of this thing. Okay.
But sometimes if I don't understand it, some of the others that are bashful, they don't understand it either, so I thought I would.
Don't feel bad, I don't either, but I am bashful. Except in class, right, John?
She's talking about, see how your page has a border around
Well,
it?
yeah, the PSR utility puts that in. I guess I never even noticed it.
That one,
Yeah, that's a good question. I am not sure.
but it's not something you did.
No.
No, but that's where he clicked, so that's probably why the PSR made notes that he clicked on that side of the screen.
As opposed to the other side, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that it's built in. I had no control over that. Okay, that is PSO, and then you can send the output to whoever's helping you if they're not with you. Pretty handy tool.
Question,
Yeah.
you know whether you could use this, if someone was using TeamViewer to assist someone remotely, could you use this on the other person's computer from your computer reportedly go through this recorder on their computer, save it, and then look at it as a way to help troubleshoot their problems from remotely.
Sure, that's a good idea, and that's one thing you would do, rather than walk someone through it. If you can remote in, it'll be a lot quicker for you to just go do it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Anything else? Okay. Here's a utility I found called WinDIR-Stat, Windows Directory Statistics. It's a good way to see what's clogging up the most space on your hard drive, and you can download it from this link just to show you where it lives. And again, I'm going to have to find out where to post this so you can all go through it, because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I haven't gotten to it yet. For Linux people, they'll use KDIR-Stat. And to show you what it looks like, it's color-coded, so the green area, whatever files are in this, and they'll equate to something in this list, which is not really readable now. These would be taking up the largest amount of space on your hard drive, followed by these red ones. And you can see these little ones here, obviously they're smaller. So if you're trying to clear off the clutter, you first start with these. So it makes it easy to tell where your targets are. Another way to speed up the PC and help the performance is to find out what automatically starts and boot up. And you can run that from typing in start run. I have to set this down a moment. In Windows XP and Windows 7, it's msconfig. And you go to the startup. Typically, and especially on new PCs, you'll see item after item, and they're all checked. Anything checked loads into memory as soon as you boot up. And 9/10 of it you don't need, because when you start a program, then it'll load. Why eat up all your memory and sit there and wait for your machine to load? I've pretty much pared it down, and these things are needed. You have to be careful and not deselect something you do need. And a good way to demonstrate this is if you get a Toshiba or Dell or HP, any of these laptops or desktops even, and you run the msconfig, as long as it's not Windows 8, then you'll see all the things I'm talking about. You see Dell this and that, Dell that, support center, helpline, all kinds of stuff. It's totally unnecessary. It's bundled with most machines. Some of it's actually spyware or adware.
Oh, I didn't see a antivirus program in there, shouldn't?
It is in there, yeah, hold on. On this one, I'm running Microsoft Security Client, Security Essentials, they call it.
Okay.
Good point, though. I disabled the Bluetooth one because I don't have any Bluetooth devices, don't need it. Okay, for Windows 8, you can get to this utility through the Task Manager. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here's a snapshot of a different machine for Windows XP, what it looks like. You take the Startup tab. For Windows 8, you go in through the Task Manager, and your Startup tab is here, and instead of checkboxes, you would right-click any of these items and either select Disabled or Enabled. And this is my other machine at home, so you can see I've pared this down. A lot of software, when you install like iTunes, TeamViewer, some HP printer software, Adobe products, they're set to automatically start at boot up. Totally unnecessary. So I disable them.
Let me ask you a question. If you disable those programs, then what do? Go back to the type in things like msconfig, type in that program to get it to come up?
No. For example, the Office 2010 component, I would just start the Excel or Word, and then it'll start. In other words, you're not preloading stuff that you have to wait for the machine to come up, and you're not using memory. And that was had more of an effect back in the days before everybody had 6 or 8 gig of memory. But it's still good to keep things clean, just my own opinion. But the point is, when you run the app, then it'll load, so you don't need to do it beforehand. And the trade-off is you get a quicker log on and log off, quicker to start the machine and shut it down.
Quicker response, less you got on.
Yeah, you have less clutter in memory, yeah. And the more memory you have free, the less paging it'll do if you're short of memory. You won't have to create virtual memory on the disk and do thrashing. You ever see a hard drive light flash on and off because it's making space on the storage because you don't have enough physical memory. It'll write it to a place on the hard drive where you eliminate all that.
Al, just since you mentioned the team viewer, do want to mention that most of the people that I work with, I get them to just have the quick start on the computer that only starts up when they do it, doesn't run all the time,
Right.
as it would be if you had the complete program. So that the people who have team viewer quick start, it's not running all the time in the background.
Right, I use the full program. I notice whenever I start it, it inserts itself to start up automatically. I have to go in and shut it off. But I do a lot of stuff with it, so I know to do that. Good point. Okay, now we'll get into some keyboard tricks. To delete an entire word, you hit, and the cursor is at the end of the word. Control backspace will delete the entire word behind that line. Try and get an example here. Never mind my typing, but anyway, control backspace will take out the whole word.
Huh.
And let's see what else we have. Got a little ahead of myself. Okay, and to move the cursor backward and forward. Control left arrow will backspace by a word at a time instead of you hitting the arrow key one at a time. Control right arrow will forward you a whole word, regardless of the length of the word. That's a pretty common shortcut. You probably already know about that. I just want to put in some other stuff here. If you're wondering why I'm putting these numbers in, I'll tell you when you're older. Okay, this is why. Okay, you're older. If you're doing some mathematical stuff in a Word document, and you probably will never use this, but I just thought it was amusing. To put a subscript in or a superscript, you do Control plus the equal sign for subscript, Control and Control Shift equals for superscript. So let me demo that real quick. So if I wanted to make this a subscript, I'd do Control equal. I would like to anyway.
And you know what? I thought it was Control Shift equal.
Control Shift equals.
Yeah, this is crazy. This worked fine at home. Control Shift. Equal. You're making a liar out of me.
Welcome to Kansas.
Control Shift equal. Oh well. Sorry for that one. Whoops. This machine's possessed. Okay, anyway, this is what it would look like. The subscript and the superscript. It can be done. I'm not sure why it's not working now. No, you know what? I like it. It worked in Word. I'm using the LibreOffice here. I guess that must be it. But anyway, if you're using Microsoft Word, that should do it. Here's another thing. If you're copying plain text of what was copied, if you copy text from, say, a website and you paste it into a Word document, you're going to get the formatting and font of that website. So a way to avoid that is with Control Shift V. So let me demonstrate that, and we'll see what else is on here. Control-Alt-V will show a paste special dialog box, and Control-Spacebar will remove the formatting. I want to show you the Control-Shift-V, see what that looks like. So I'm going to copy this text and go over to a Word doc. I call it Word, it's really Office Writer, I can never remember the terms. If I just do Control-V, it's going to paste in the same font that was on the website. But if I do Control-Shift-V, then I get the pick, and I say unformatted text. And that'll keep the formatting of the normal Word template. I hate the way this thing jumps on me. Okay, Control-Alt-V is another possibility here. So if I undo that and do Control-Alt-V instead of Control-Shift-V, it does nothing. Okay. There was something on here. Many programs follow this, okay, but not all. Particularly Microsoft programs like Word or Outlook, although I'm not using Microsoft now. This is making me look bad because yesterday when I was putting this all together, it didn't work. And you can try it on your machines at home. Okay. And at this point, this is the intermission. Okay. Intermission over. Okay, we're about halftime. Now, to copy, if you wanted to get a screen snapshot of something, you just hit the print screen button and you paste it in Word. You're going to get all the background windows, whatever portion of the desktop is showing, and all kinds of extraneous stuff. So instead, hold the Alt key, Mary Fran, you know this one, Alt print screen, and that will only copy the active window, not all the other stuff that you don't want.
So it's Alt plus print screen.
What was that?
I said it's Alt plus print screen.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, with Windows 8, well, I think Windows 2, right? It's got the snipping tool.
Right, yeah, Windows 7 I think also has that. Yeah, that's one way to do it, but this is a lot easier. This is only 2 keys.
Yeah, but okay, that's true. So if you want, I agree, if you want to print a window, this is a little shorter. If you want to do some other, capture part of a screen, part of not a window, but any part of the screen, you do the snipping tool to let you do that.
Right, yeah, you can narrow it down, yeah. The snipping tool is right here. Here's what he's talking about. So if I don't want this whole window, I can just, where did that go? Say new to start it. And then whatever I snip can be like that, and there you have it. And then you can email this to somebody, or you can save it as a file, or you can copy and paste it into a file. So that's a good way to get a portion of the screen instead of the whole window.
What keys do you use to get a portion of it? That snip.
The key is, this, I hate to admit it, but you have to use the mouse, because you drag the mouse
Okay.
over whatever portion you want. It could be the whole thing, it could be one sentence, whatever.
Yeah. Pictures and things be great for.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could pretty much crop in this right on the spot. Yep. Good point. Okay. Most of you probably already know the undo command is one of your best friends. If you have to use a computer, and Control-Z, you can do that. In Chrome and Firefox browsers, you can, if you inadvertently close a tab, you can get it back with Control-Shift-T. So let's demo that. Find where I keep it. Okay. Close that. Control Shift. It didn't close, did it?
Mhm.
Okay.
You close that one where you get the tips.
All right, good. Control Shift T to bring it back. Hey, something worked already. Now you guys can believe the rest of what I'm going to tell you. Okay, to cycle through open windows, as you can see, I've got Word, this PowerPoint thing, and the internet browser, and probably File Explorer open. One way to cycle between them is to hit the hold the Alt key and Tab. That's what I was doing here until I find the one I want. Rather than minimizing everything, where if you're in a slideshow and you're not seeing a taskbar, although I can bring that back with, I think it's Win key T when you're in slideshow presentation, it brings that back. Oh, here's another one, okay. If you want another way to cycle through open windows, Windows key tab, although that didn't work for me, but I'm going to try it. Windows key is that little flag key on the keyboard next to the space bar. Okay, cool.
Do you hold them down at the same time or one?
Yeah, I hold the Windows key and then hit the Tab key
Now, what's the purpose for that, Al?
Isn't that neat?
because I'm easily amused.
Three-dimensional instead of two. Show them
It's
the
a way to
two-dimensional.
cycle through the open windows. Two-dimensional is like that. But if you like more dimensions in your life, you hold the Windows key instead of Alt.
What if I wanted to see that one that says text bar?
Oh, if you hold the Shift key, it'll go backwards the other direction. What was that, Mary
What
Fran?
if I just wanted to select the one that said text bar?
Where are you?
The back,
Oh,
next to the
Put a mouse on that.
Look, brown one back. yeah.
That one.
That
You
guy-
cycle through it and you release the keys and whatever comes up, it's like the roulette wheel where it stops, there's your number.
The one in front is the one that, right, the one that's in front would be the one that,
The current one, right. That's where the wheel stops.
I have a question. If you wanted to say that one and it was 4 or 5 back, could you just click on your mouse and bring that one to the forefront?
Not if you're holding a microphone.
But I'm saying.
Not if you're holding
Let's
it.
try it. Yes. Good call. Never even thought about doing that.
It's faster tab one-handed.
Yeah, which is what I'm going to have in the middle of the month.
See if you want to
Anyway,
go back in the line, just put your mouse on.
And then all the keys.
And click it.
Any
How do
more
you-
questions?
How do you go back to where you were?
I'm there.
How do you go back to
All
all
the
the
pictures
tabs?
on again, Windows,
Oh, Windows key and tab.
Windows tab again.
Okay.
That's the three-dimensional. I'm working on a six-dimensional, but I can't reach with one hand all the keys you need to do that. Okay.
Because you can get some.
Another way, one way you interrupt processes, like if your machine is hanging, you hit Control Alt Delete, but you have to be careful on what you select when you do that, or you lose whatever else is open. And here's what that looks like in, I guess this is Windows 7. For example, if I log off and haven't closed everything, I might lose open files I was working on or links on a website. But I usually set my browsers to show the windows I had last time. So if I close it, it'll come back to what I had. This is a minor point. I don't know how relevant it really is. Here's a neat shortcut. I use this all the time to close. Alt F4 will close the current window. I don't want to do it now because it'll knock out what I'm doing now. And it's quicker, I think, for me to use the keyboard to do Alt F4 than it is to go find another one. Go hunt for the X and take it out that way. Now, to minimize all the windows, if I need to get to the desktop, most people are familiar with Win key N, but they recommend to use Win key D because I can undo that. So if I do Win key D now, that'll take that. And to bring it all back up, I hit Win key D again, and that'll bring up all the windows. That point's kind of lost because I'm using full screen anyway, but if I had Word and whatever else open, hitting Win key D a second time would restore the screens to their size before I minimize them. Now, to close the current tab, this is a neat thing. If you're in Word, if I can find it, and if I had another document open, just type something, and I don't want to close Word, but I want to get back to the other one, and I'm done with this, Control W will close the current document. This could be done in Excel, PowerPoint, Word, anything. So I'm going to close without saving. And the other way where this is really helpful is in the browser. If I just want to close one, let's say close one tab, Control W closes that tab. I forget what the keyboard shortcut, well, okay, that puts it back, okay, Control Shift T. But you can close any one tab and I happen to knock out the whole browser or multiple tabs. Control W.
Do you use that minimizer key where you're at right now with the mouse?
Yeah, that's the Windows key D.
That leaves that open, doesn't it?
Yes, it just minimizes everything.
And then
Then to bring it back, you just tap it
what I'm
back.
getting at is if you don't close that out later on, that can cause a problem, that'll leave the program open.
Yeah, no, it can. I really haven't seen it in the newer operating systems do that. They're usually more forgiving than it was in Windows XP or prior. But yeah, it's a good idea. I always close everything out before I shut the machine down for that reason. I think that's called paranoia. Okay, that's Control W. So the biggest ones of all the things I'm showing you today that I think are the most helpful are Alt F4 to close a window and Control W to close a portion of a window, like a Word document, but not all of them, or a tab on a browser, but not the whole browser.
You skipped the first paragraph.
You know, I think I would. Okay. Oh yeah, how to open the task manager. There's a number of ways. You can do start run, type in task MGR. You can right click the taskbar. Let's bring this down. You can right click the taskbar and select that. But I prefer the keyboard, so it's Control Shift Escape. Yeah, took a minute. Control Shift Escape. Brings up Task Manager. And this is good to check out your performance. Like if your machine's going slow, you can check your CPU, your processor utilization, your memory, all that kind of stuff that most of you who have a life won't worry about this stuff. But the information is there. If somebody asks you what version of Windows 7 or 8 you're running, a lot of people don't know, because you don't have to know, you just install it. But a quick way to get to it without having to hunt through the control panel is the Windows key and the pause button. So Windows key, pause, will bring it up. And there's your information. And you can see if it's 64-bit or 32, this is 32, shows how much memory is in here, your processor and its speed, the computer name, all kinds of neat stuff. So Windows key pause. In Windows XP and earlier, Windows key pause would bring up is a quick way to get the device manager, which is probably more handy than this stuff.
Question in the back.
I hear voices.
Now,
all the
Al,
time.
could you do that with the same letters done for Linux? Or is there different letters?
No, none of this, I won't say none, a lot of this does not apply to Linux. The keyboard shortcuts like the Alt F4, Control W, Control Tab, the space forward in words, that applies in any OS,
Right.
from what I've seen, yeah. But Device Manager doesn't even exist in Linux as this. I mean, there's another way to get to it.
Ira, the other key is he's using a Windows key.
Yeah, I know the Windows key you use.
I'm using print.
Well, there's no Windows key in R.
That's a super key.
Super key.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like a little flag, most people don't know what it is, but there's a list, if you Google it, there's a lot of different things you can do with it.
Al, before you leave that, I need to make sure people know that I ran into a problem with one of our classes when we teach this, and told a person to do it, and they said they couldn't. I said, yes, you can. It's not there. I said, yes, it is. No, it's not. I said, bring your laptop in. They brought it in, and sure enough, a lot of the newer laptops, in order to consolidate space, you will not find a pause button, so you can't do this on many laptops.
Yeah, that's right. I thought I was getting retinal detachment because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so just, that's what you're supposed to do, but on some laptops, that key is gone.
Yeah, that's why people use external keyboards. One reason. There are multiple monitor controls. I can't really demo this because I don't have a second monitor, but if you were, I worked at a place where you had 4 monitors where we're doing working in network operations center. You had to have it because of all the utilities running, and you're remoted into switches and routers and stuff. If you look at the bottom here, there is a way you can, for example, if I had another monitor here, I could click this duplicate and the same screens would show up on both monitors. But what's really handy is extend, and you can do this at home with a second monitor. For example, I would have Outlook open all the time while I'm doing other stuff. So I would extend Outlook onto the other monitor, and maybe one or 2 other things. And the main monitor, I'm working, like if I'm in Dreamweaver or the browser, whatever, on the main monitor. And you can drag back and forth with the mouse in between. Like if you're moving a file or a window, you can just drag it along. And unfortunately, I can't demo. Now, starting in Windows 7, at least through Windows 8, there's one for projector only. And if I click that now, I'll lose my screen, but it'll still be up on the projector. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just letting you know it's all there. And the way you get to this little thing is Windows key P. There's another fun tip.
You're putting another screen for extend on a computer. How do you find a plug to plug it in on a computer?
Laptops have a VGA port, but a desktop, they usually have built-in VGA ports or DVI. Yeah, DVI port. And if it doesn't, then you have to add a DVI, a video card, DVI card. And most of the DVI cards, they have 2 ports, so if you want to get really twisted, you could do 3 monitors. That'd be good for like graphic modeling or weather forecasting or stuff that mortals shouldn't mess with. Oh, here's another neat trick. I didn't even know that until I saw this article. If you go to a browser, let me see, Control Shift, I hope I can remember that. Okay, if I go to a new tab, so if I trying to think of a site that I don't use so it doesn't pre-fill, let's say this. Instead of typing com, I can just type the main part of the URL and hit Control Enter, and it puts the com one for me.
Can't hear you.
Sorry. If I just type in USA Today and hit Control Enter instead of typing com, and again, this is my laziness, Control Enter will automatically append the com qualifier to the end of this. So all I have to type is USA Today. If I wanted org, let's say, I'm making one up, PTA, and it's Control Shift Enter. And it would put org on there. So probably never use it. But I do it for com all the time, because I just do. Another way to get to the URL field, there's a number of ways. If you're somewhere down in a browser, you can do Control L, put you up there. Now there's one in, D will put you up there. That's too many keystrokes. Like I said, I'm lazy. F6 is the way to go. So wherever you are on the screen, F6 will put you up to the URL field. Okay, and that's... That was that. Cycle through open tab. Oh, okay, we can control, this is cool too. Web browser, if I'm here and I want to cycle through, move through, control, what was that, Control T?
Control tab, isn't it?
Control tab, thank you, yeah. Or if I know what tab it is, let's say I want to go to the 5th tab, hit Control and then number 5, put me to that.
Can I see that again?
Yeah, let's
Say that
do-
again?
Yeah, let's go back to the first tab so I can hit Control and then number 1 to go to tab number 1. Control tab will go to the next tab, and I can just go between them.
Okay.
Am I twisting everyone's brains yet? All these little keyboard things?
So you control tab and then put the number in and it'll go where the,
No, it's either Control tab or Control and a number.
okay. Okay, that's what.
But if you start getting a lot of tabs, then you have to count them, so it's probably easier at that point to just use the mouse and go there. But I'm just sharing some useless,
Now, can you,
non-using information I found.
Al,
Yeah,
can you,
These arms.
sorry, did I interrupt?
There you did.
Ira,
Yes.
what is it?
And can you, when you have all those tabs up there, as a control something, you can just delete them all?
At the same time, you just
Same
close
time?
Yeah, close the browser.
Well, I know that, but I mean, with your shortcut.
Oh, you can close one at a time with Control W, will close the active tab.
Okay, but it won't close all.
No,
Okay, that's why I'm just throwing it out there to see if you do that, I don't know.
oh, you can't trick me, come
I'm
on.
not tricking you. I'm on the road too.
Okay.
Is there a place on the network or something you can find these shortcuts and read them and kind of experiment with them on your own?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I'm going to put this up on the LCCS forum. John, you'll have to let me know where's the best place, and somebody will have to tell me how to send a link to let everyone know. And then you can open this, or you can just Google it, keyboard shortcuts, or go on the first screen to the text page. Here's another neat trick. If you're ever having to do a presentation, and if I go out of here, that just goes back to the presentation. And if I hit F5, well, let's go to the first slide to answer your question. That's not the first slide, is it? Wrong slide. This link for TechSpot will, that's where I got this, and there's, you can Google it, this stuff is out there. Now, if I interrupted the presentation, if I hit F5 to start the slideshow again, it's going to start at slide 1, and I've got to page down to get to where I wanted. So I could have done, if I had just minimized this to show somebody something else, I was on slide 21, and whatever slide is highlighted, shift F5 instead of F5, and that'll resume the show from where you left off, which is handy if you were in a corporate environment, you had like 50 slides, you have to try and remember where you were. Shift F5, if you're on that screen, will start the show where you left off. Did I answer your question, or did I evade it? If you're in a coffee shop or on some other network other than your own, and you want to have private browsing that doesn't leave a trail, no cookies, no history, any of that, if you're using the Chrome browser, which I'm not, Control-Shift-N would launch a private browser, so you can get all your pages, but you're not leaving a trail. Like if you're on a public machine at a library or somewhere. And in Firefox or Internet Explorer, it's Control-Shift-P. You'll see the screen below. They call it incognito. It's a good way to go below the radar in a public place.
Al, if you're just playing games or doing something dumb, you don't have to do all that?
No.
Okay.
This is if you were going to do some kind of a banking transaction or something like that,
Okay.
which I don't recommend doing in a public place anyway, but if you really had to,
Okay.
that would give you another level of protection. Okay, here's another fun thing. The way to rename a file, if it's, let me go to a browser. I created a dummy directory specifically so I could demo this for you. Dummy files, okay. If I want to rename a file, you hit F2, and then you can just rename it. The long way to do it is right-click and rename, same thing, but F2 is a lot quicker. So if I rename this to test, and then hit F2 again, it doesn't do anything, because I did it wrong. I got so many things written here, I just can't remember them all. To alter name of another, oh, it's tab, okay. Should have known. Where is that? Yeah. Okay, let's try this again. F2, tab, oh. Okay, then it goes there. It prompts you to make sure you wanted to do it. Only I didn't hit the right prompt.
You already have a test.
Oh, okay, it's down at the bottom, yeah. It'll go 2, 3, etc. But there was something else I wanted to demo. It's hard holding this microphone. Oh, you can rename files sequentially, if I can remember how to do this.
You have a question?
Yeah.
That was my question, I think, about renaming them sequentially.
Uh-huh.
You know, like say if you have like image file, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's what
and
I'm
you
gonna
want
do
to
right
change
now.
the name of it, yeah.
Yeah. If I can do this correctly.
Did somebody ask me that question?
Oh, you gotta select all the files, that's it.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm gonna rename these to
Bob.
oh yeah.
Neat.
So you select them all and it'll sequentially name them. Rename them rather, yeah. As Bob mentioned, for photographs, this is definitely the way to do it. Of course, I'm not gonna remember it.
Now if I can only remember who asked me that question in the first place.
Yeah. Okay, malware can show up in a lot of ways. You can rename a program so it no longer works. If you know what the program is, you can change it back to exe if you're sure that it's okay. I wouldn't really recommend that. I just include this tip because I saw it. I'd be suspicious. When you install software, particularly video editing software or music download stuff, it's bundled with a lot of stuff, and most people just say click install, and you wind up with all kinds of ugly surprises that are more annoying than dangerous, but not always. So there will be a button for custom installation. I say always take that. Because you'll see, it'll cycle you through each other app that's going to put on, and you can opt out or decline or just refuse to do it. The example I see all the time is Adobe Shockwave, which is junk software. And if you don't look at that closely, there's a box that's checked that says install, it's McAfee or some other junk. You do not want it, especially if you already have antivirus, which is sure you shouldn't be playing this game. And they butt heads, but McAfee, you don't want it. That's just an example, and you'll always see that as far as like the last few upgrades on that.
There's a program out called Unchecky. I think it's unchecky.com. And what it does by default, it unchecks the things that are normally checked that would, that you need to uncheck. It automatically does that by default. So you don't end up with all those superfluous programs.
Great. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, it's amazing. And then one day you wake up and your machine is so slow and you can't figure out why. Then you look at the MS config or the startup and you see all the stuff. I didn't install that. Well, yes, you did.
Yep.
Okay. The last thing if you're say in a public place with your laptop and you have to go out for a minute, always lock the keyboard, and the way you do that is with Win key L. I'm not going to do it because I didn't want to do it. No, bring it up to your login screen. So basically you have to put in your password again and no one else can get on your machine that way if it's locked. Actually, I lied. I'm going to show you. Boom! Win key L. So then you have, so someone can't just come along and see what you were doing. Question?
I said, you're just a little kiddie.
Oh, yeah. Arrested development keeps me young, John.
And a little fur ball.
Okay, this was more for me than for you, but if I wanted to do this presentation, I was going to do something else that required 5 minutes, I don't need this. I can hit B to black out the screen, or I could white it out like that just by hitting the W or B. And that's it. Does anyone have any questions, comments,
Send me an email, Laura.
derisive comments?
And screen back, you just hit the same key.
Correct. Yeah, it's a toggle. So that's my presentation.
Interesting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Al will be posting that on the web board under the category called Programs and Meetings, because that makes sense. And so all of you that have access to the web board, you'll be able to go there, and then it'll just be an attachment that you just click and start it up. If you don't happen to have PowerPoint, we can always direct you to a free program that you can download and watch it.